Morning, everyone. My name's Jeff Montague-Smith. I'm a registered osteopath from the United Kingdom, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the sound therapy workshop that we're going to be running in Cochrane on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So right now I'm in Revelstoke, enjoying the snow that British Columbia has to offer. We just had 7 centimetres yesterday and more falling as we speak. So before I head up the mountain, I just wanted to give you a little overview of what we're going to be doing. We've got a great group of people coming together. This whole course has been set up for the 4th year now. Martha Burkett, who owns the Amaryllis Crystal Garden, she has the Crystal Bowls shop there in Banff, and is really anchoring the sound work very beautifully in Banff, that very special place. And so each year we come together and we bring a group of people together to teach them how to work with sound healing and bioresonance. So the course is very well structured. We've got a very simple system where we're focusing on the more subtle structures of the body. So as a regularly trained osteopath, I realized that there were limitations to the more physical approach to medicine, with the body work and the remedies, the functional medicine. All of that's fine, but sometimes there are more subtle aspects affecting the consciousness of the patient, which are locked in to the chakra system and the meridians and the wider auric field. And in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to my teacher, Peter Goldman, and I was doing a little interview with him, just talking about the sort of general concepts of how this whole thing works. So I'd invite you to watch that interview. It's about 10 minutes long. But we're going to be showing you how to work with tuning forks to identify areas of dissonance. We're going to be teaching you how to correct those areas of dissonance and how to reset the energy field, take away static, and clarify the situation, because the biofield or the aura is really what determines the health. If that's flowing properly, if there's no dissonance in there, then the physical body will work much better. We'll have better emotional processing, better intellectual processing, and at the higher spiritual levels, things will really start to open up. So that's our experience of this, and so very excited to share it with you if you decide that you want to come along to join us. As I say, Martha and I will be teaching this work together. It's always a very special few days, and I'm very much looking forward to arriving on Thursday evening in preparation for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So if it feels that it's something that may be for you after you've seen the interview that I do with Peter now, then we'd very much enjoy it if you would like to consider attending the class and learning what we do with sound therapies. So let me introduce you now to my teacher and mentor, Mr. Peter Goldman, who's osteopath and naturopath. And this was just a little interview that we did together before a conference that happened in February in Phoenix, or actually Tucson, Arizona. So he was due to speak at that conference but was unable to attend. So we just recorded that very short video which explains everything. So let me introduce him to you now. You can just take a look at what he has to say about some of the concepts. It's my pleasure to be here with my teacher and mentor, Mr. Peter Goldman, who has really been instrumental in teaching me, I would say, most of what I know, actually, in terms of what I currently apply in my day-to-day practice. And it's my great pleasure to be here with him, to give him a chance to actually explain his method of using harmonic sound and sound therapy, which he taught me many years ago. And we were going to be together at Concordia. Dr. Robert Cass invited us to be with you all for these few days. And unfortunately Peter can't make it across to the West Coast. And I just wanted to give him an opportunity to speak to you and just to discuss a few of the ideas that underpin the work. So, Peter, if you could just talk to the delegates at Concordia, if you could just, first of all, just give them a welcome message and a sort of a short sort of introduction in a way into how you see the work and how we kind of use the work on a day-to-day basis with our patients.
Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity, and I wish I could be there in person. So there is a sense of being involved in the same work, even if it is using slightly different instruments and from a slightly different perspective. The work itself is an affirmation of the extraordinary intelligence of the whole structure of the human body, and then the nature of consciousness and the energy fields and systems that join them all together, and how this maintains itself in a self-balancing, homeostatic way, and also in the sense also of self-healing. There is enormous intelligence that is immediate and ever-present, uniting all the different systems, levels, functions, and scientifically we can investigate them, and they always lead on to something that is more and more, in one way, remarkable. In another way, it is as if we are a reflection, a cosmic reflection, the microcosm of the great cosmic model that is just space, the galaxy, planets. And the way, at least, the visible universe and a little bit of the invisible that we can appreciate all works and coordinates together. It is the reliance on the intelligence of it all that allows us, from our perspective, at working with harmonic sound, to tap into this and to be able to speak in a language that is corresponding to the way in which information is passed between life forms. It is spread amongst nature, and it is sometimes stored, but is always present, and it is used, and it is also constantly being updated. So the underlying theme comes under the heading of spiritual psychotherapeutics, or interdimensional therapy. We're working with a structure based upon the old chakra system, that the body has a number of different levels, and that the manifesting at a physical level is the densest and lowest level, and that all of the ways in which the manifesting is maintained and consciousness can be active through it is through the integrity of the link between the subtle and the material. And this is not something which is just switched on and switched off. It is in itself a functioning unit, but it is also an evolving unit. And also, as human beings, we have our place amongst the way in which all of nature, all life forms, plants and animals, minerals, how everything is in itself evolving. In this sense, and from this, if you like, this type of foundation, the integration of the subtle and the material, the application of a philosophy of consciousness and of being, that it can be practical. And with this, we would look for methods that are essentially non-invasive and non-manipulative. And so if we're going to work with sound, then we see that sound is one of the stepping stones that comes, first of all, from light, and from light into color, color into sound, and then sound into form. And the form itself, if we think of the body, is constantly dissolving and reforming. And if we think of the circulation of the bloodstream, it is like the primeval sea within which all life formed and all life evolved in the beginning. I first had a little semi-direct experience with the sound when a friend of mine, a very close colleague and friend, was in Arizona, in Sedona.
Oh, well, that's pretty much where we're going to have this conference, right? So Tucson is where we're going to be. So okay. It's the Arizona desert showing up again. Yeah.
This is where the whole impulse began. Okay. And she was walking with some friends through the outback there, yeah. And slipped into a small gully, and actually cracked the sternum. And so was an immediate, quite acute pain. And they took her to a chiropractor there who took an X-ray and confirmed that there was this crack. And said, well, there's nothing directly much that we can do. It will just have to heal, take 3 weeks or so, and there we are. Somebody said there is a healer in town, and in Sedona there are quite a few healers in town usually, and let's go and see him. And this man came in with the aluminium tuning forks, and the very first time he chose to make the sound together, she felt the bone healing. And literally from that moment the pain disappeared completely. They did another x-ray, the bracket gone, and she felt fine. Now when she came back from Arizona on that occasion, she brought me a steel set that they called a chakra tuning kit, which was mainly the diatonic scale that we use in our work today. And so working with the idea of energetic holographic medicine from that background, so you didn't just jump in and try to do something about a symptom. You always worked with the underlying factors. You always worked to clear the way that you could do the next level and the next level. That the concept of working immediately to directly onto symptoms without a regard for the hierarchy of the way dissonance manifests or disease manifests, you then create an imbalance within the body's already existing attempts to balance itself. And so if you work then from the point of gradually clearing the levels of we could call them the toxic overlay, or the dissonant fog in a way, or the energetic stasis, then many things will work by themselves. The actual therapy is not really a therapy. It's more sweeping the path of the leaves of autumn, or clearing out the trash cans and seeing that there is no accumulation within a system which actually regularly works to detoxify and clear itself. The image of a blueprint, and we say a blueprint at a subtle level, we say it's in the workshop of the soul. We could say it's in the fifth dimension, purely to give it a reference temporarily. And we say there is behind the way the body forms, even before the nature of fertilization and the building of the new baby, even before that, at a subtle and energetic level, all the information already exists. So that by the time the body is formed, but also the personality structure is formed, the character structure is entering in, the nature of their life and their path is connected to a pre-existent, you could say a foundation that exists, and exists before anything manifests and continues throughout our existence. We're looking for the pathways from the soil to the soul. We're looking from where it is manifested, where it is working within the everyday, and where can it get the update of information from its inner workshop. And then we find that we're working with divine geometry. So the sound is divine geometry. And we're looking at the way in which the universe fulfills itself through its creative expression consistently through the harmonics that can be mathematically described and can also be applied. And that the golden section, the golden mean, is consistent throughout all life forms and throughout all forms and aspects of nature. There are certain primary principles which are always there. When we facilitate the sound, as you said, which I absolutely I think is quite remarkable, that all other forms of therapy work more efficiently and effectively when the sound is used as well. We could say it facilitates the value, or the body's ability to take the value out of everything else. Yeah, that's right. So to me, that this is opening up the pathways of communication. It also allows the self-destructive elements within the person to be less dominant. You know, by mistake they could get better, as it were. They could have forgotten to resist the healing process. And so we're working with a biography of the person, and all of this by its very nature and principle, is working with the journey of the soul or the inner being, and by its very nature and principle it is a creative expression. The soul is creativity in action. The soul is expressing the principle of our spiritual identity. The soul is here to work with life and to make it work, however we might like to define that. And so the healing process will involve the individual in finding an area of creative expression. That's the important thing. From our side, we're always looking, first of all, what we can encourage, but secondly, the work only works through challenge, through people asking questions that we've never thought of asking before, or bringing forward situations which we may have not looked at enough. And so what I look forward to, and what I was looking forward to being able to be at Concordia, was to ask for the work to be challenged, for the questions to be come up, which you could say, in this situation or with that situation, what on earth are you going to do with sound, and why? Yeah. And so the work has ever only advanced because of situations which questioned it and queried it. And for people who didn't know enough, thought it could do something which I already thought it couldn't do, and their insight immediately saw through the wall that I was blocked to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I was looking forward to very much. Yeah. And I look forward to it when it is possible.
Well, it'll be next time, I'm sure. And there are going to be people in the audience who have learned your methods and are busy using your methods. They are small in number at the moment, but we anticipate that there are going to be more and more practitioners who are willing to study these methods.
And we can create a webinar and do a talk-in with that. It would be lovely. The work progresses because of those who are interested enough to challenge it and to find situations which query, how do we use it?
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much. Thank you for this time. It's been great. Good. And see you all in a few days' time in Arizona. Okay. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, wish you a great time. And I'll be there in spirit anyway.
You will. Yeah, you will. Definitely. So now you have an idea of the general concept for how sound healing and the Peter Goldman method works. And as I said, we're going to be very excited to share that information with you on Friday, Saturday and Sunday in Cochrane. So if you are interested to come along, then please get in touch with Martha Burkett's staff at the Amaryllis Centre for Healing in Cochrane. So you'll be able to speak to, I think it's Olivia there. She'll be able to get you set up on the class if you're interested to join us. So I look forward to seeing you if you decide to come along, and if not, then maybe next year we can get together if this was too short notice. Okay, so many best wishes and hope to see you at the weekend.